Alright. Hi, everybody. Just want to close the curtain a little bit. I am so happy to be here with you all. And I forgot my lighting again. Let me switch on my lighting. There we go. I don't know how much it helps. Maybe you can tell me if you're here. Okay, and just let me know. I am using my microphone, and I just want to make sure that you can hear me. So, yeah, let me know. Okay, so today I want to talk about mirrors. Mirrors and how to utilize them and why they're there and what's the whole deal with mirrors and what's this mirroring thing that everybody's talking about. You know, and of course, many of you may already have an idea of what mirrors are all about, but we're going to explore this in quite a bit of depth and yeah, see how we go. And if any of you are here live with me, let me know. If you watching this afterwards, please type it in the comments. Type anything that you feel or experience or know about mirrors. Type it in the comments. And if there are other things that you're interested in me coaching about, please put that as well in the comments. I would love to facilitate that for you. And just one little note on a program that I'm going to be starting very soon. I'm going to be starting a mediumship academy. I'm still playing around with exactly what to call it, if I should call it the mediumship academy or the channeling academy. You let me know what you think. I would love to hear your input. So that'll be started soon. And it will be a several month program. And I'm also going to be starting channeled art lessons or maybe a channeled art academy as well. So both have to do with channeling and different ways of receiving information and dealing with the information. So if you're interested in that, let me know, and you can email me, you can type in the comments, you can DM me, and tell me what your needs are. Tell me what you would like to learn, what you would like to get out of either of those, if it tickles your fancy, if it resonates with you. Okay, so mirrors. So the first thing to know and understand about mirrors is that every single person in your life is a mirror. I'm just going to switch off the WhatsApp web that is making a lot of noise here. There we go. All right, that should be gone now. So every single person in your life is a mirror. And usually the people we are closest to are our biggest mirrors. And mirrors are nothing else other than people are showing you reflections of yourself. So it could be a positive reflection, it could be a negative reflection, but they are showing you reflections of yourself or reflections of parts of yourself. And all it really is information for you to learn about yourself. So we tend to, when people hold up a mirror for us of our own lives, it is the go-to to react to that, to react to the information. But as you start learning a little bit more and gaining more wisdom, you start understanding that there's no point in reacting, really, unless there is something that you need to share or teach or that your wisdom is guiding you to do. But for the most part, we are really not really meant to be reacting when somebody is showing up in that way. Rather, we are meant to reflect. We are meant to look in the reflection and learn from it. Hi, Tracy. Thank you. Yes. Tracy says yes. We are meant to learn from it. It is information for us. It is information for us to learn about ourselves. It's information for us to heal wounded parts. It's information for us to to know when we're on the right track. There's many, many different ways in which this information can come through. So first and foremost, it's important to realize when somebody's being a mirror for you. And like I said, everybody's being a mirror for you all the time. Okay, positive or negative. So let's use an example. If there are certain things that keep showing up for you, or people keep showing up for you in a certain way in different relationships, for example, and there's something like a pet peeve that you have, it keeps happening, then you have to ask yourself, why does it keep happening? And the bigger question is not why does it happen, but why am I reacting in this way? Because your reaction is the biggest tell. When you are the least in alignment with yourself, you will want to react negatively to something that someone's showing for you. I'm trying to think of a good example. So let's say, I can't actually think of an example. So sometimes we get angry with someone, and when we unpack it at a later stage, we realize that that person never intended anything negative. So has this ever happened to you, where you thought for sure somebody was trying to be mean or trying to hurt you or trying to be passive aggressive or whatever the case may be, and then you reacted and then they were surprised? Has that ever happened to you? That is a huge, huge indication. So I'm not talking about when somebody is lying or being dishonest. I'm talking about when someone is genuinely surprised at your reaction. And then when you unpack it, you realize that that person actually didn't mean anything negative with that. I wonder if you can hear my dogs barking in the background. Okay, so that is a very clear indication that there was a wounded part within you, within yourself, that needs to be acknowledged, that is reacting to that information because that part is wounded, is hurt, needs healing. So that is very, very important to tackle. That's very, very important to learn. So this is why it's so important to just like take a beat before you react. First ask, and this is why it's important to be connected to your wisdom, connected to your intuition, connected to your higher self, so that your first reaction, when you might realize that you want to react, you might realize you feel a certain way, but before you react, to take a breath and ask your wisdom, ask your intuition, why does this make me feel this way? Am I justified in this reaction? Will it help to react in this way? But first and foremost, why do I feel this way? So that forms part of awareness. So last week when I was speaking about clear empathy, the gift of clear empathy, I spoke quite a bit about the importance of awareness. And this is one of those levels of awareness that is so important. Tracy, yes, I've been learning to take a deep breath and then respond. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's so, so important. So once you learn to really start listening to that inner voice, you will get the answer. You take your breath and you just ask, like right now, the dogs are barking. Somebody rang the doorbell. It's not for me, it's for someone else. And they're going nuts. And I'm like, really, is this the time? I have a live video going on now. Why are you barking? You're making a noise, And for all I know, you guys can't even hear the dogs. I don't know if you can hear them. But I'm kind of getting a little bit edgy and like, but at the same time, I'm realizing it doesn't help. It doesn't help to get upset. It is what it is. It's to teach me a lesson. There's a lesson in this. And that is just, as I'm teaching and saying this to you, the same applies to me. I need to take my own medicine. I need to learn the same lesson. Okay, so take a deep breath. And they were just trying to let me know that someone's here. They're just in their minds doing their jobs, right? And why does it make me, it's happening again. And why does it make me uncomfortable? It's because there's a certain part of me that is reacting to that and saying, oh, you're embarrassing me, don't embarrass me. There's certain parts of me that maybe is not feeling, that still needs some work and still needs some love and still, needs some healing. And that's why I'm reacting that way. That's why that reaction is happening. So it's there for a second and it's not suppressing. So we're not suppressing the emotions. We're acknowledging it and asking why instead of reacting. And then we can think about it and reflect on that when it's appropriate and do the work. We can do the healing, or simply by understanding the lesson, sometimes you can let it go. It's as simple as that. So that is a very, very useful tool as you start learning to trust your intuition more, as you start learning to recognize that inner voice. And at first, many people feel like, oh no, I don't have very good intuition, or whatever the case may be. There's two reasons for that. The one reason is that when we're in states of anxiety or other low vibrational emotions, it's very, very hard to hear that inner voice, because we need to be in a more raised consciousness, raised awareness state, raised vibrational state. So it's very important, first of all, to connect with that intuition, to learn to, like Tracy suggested, take a deep breath. Okay, because when you're in a reactive state, you're not going to hear anything. So you have to calm yourself down, you have to regulate yourself, and you have to clear your mind so that you can hear that still inner voice. Okay, that voice is subtle. It's not a shouting out loud kind of voice. There are times when that happens, but still you have to be connected. You have to be aware. You have to be in tune with that inner voice. And the second reason why people struggle to hear that voice is because they expect it to be loud. And your higher self and also spirit doesn't communicate in that way. Okay, you have to learn to listen. You have to learn to be quiet. It's the same as when we communicate with other people in our lives. We can't truly hear their side if, when we're in a conversation, you're thinking of what to say next. Then you're not really listening. Then you're busy thinking about how to react or what to say. So it's very, very important to really learn to be still and really just listen and really just hold space for somebody. But just listen. Listening is such an important skill in communication, but also in life, whether you're listening to someone who you're having a conversation with or whether you're listening to that inner voice. Okay. So if you are a very reactive person, you're finding yourself reacting to certain situations, certain kinds of people maybe, and especially if you're reacting to one person in particular all the time. Yes, sometimes certain people don't resonate with you and you are just not a match, and that's fine. But sometimes, especially when there's a lot of love, it is simply because that person is being a mirror. And for those of you that are parents, this is one of the places where we can usually see it the most clearly. And as much as we love our children, that can also sometimes really just make us crazy. Okay? And there's a good reason for that. They are our best mirrors. And we are forced to learn to listen, to be patient, and to get out of our own heads and really just start listening. Okay, so that is a great example of children are the most excellent mirrors. And like I said, people that you're close to can also be really, really good mirrors. So if you're finding yourself reacting all the time, become aware of that. Take note of that. And understand, you will start understanding, especially as you start asking yourself, especially as you start reflecting on it, why it happens. And start taking note of the specific emotions that are coming up. What kind of reaction is it every time? For example, are you feeling, does it hurt you? Do you feel angry? Do you feel betrayed? Pay attention to what emotion it is. That way you can go and explore that emotion, especially if it's the same emotion coming up. And especially if it's with different people and different situations, but it's the same emotions that keep coming up. Then that just means there's a part of you, and more often than not, it's an inner child. Okay? Sometimes it's that little inner child that something has happened to, that never received the acknowledgement it needed, or never received the love it needed, or just wasn't taken care of in the way that it needed to be taken care of. So really listen to that part of yourself, because that part of yourself, just like if you're a parent and your child is reacting and it seems so irrational sometimes, you're not going to go and tell them, have this long conversation or whatever with a toddler, for example. It's not going to help. All you can do is really just hold that toddler and make them feel safe. And then once they're calm, you can reason with them or teach them something, right? But reacting to that toddler is not going to do any good. Okay? It's like trying to reason with a drunk person. There's no reasoning with a drunk person. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Okay. So that is what's important. There's a part of you that needs some love. There's a part of you that needs acknowledgement. And this will, just the listening and acknowledgement alone is incredibly healing. So pay attention to the mirrors, folks. Pay attention to what they're trying to tell you. And in doing this, in starting to actually actively see what's in the mirror instead of reacting and responding because of how you're feeling, you will start getting to know yourself a lot better. And you will start understanding what makes you tick. And you will start understanding what you need. And you'll be able to hear that inner voice much better. So thank you, Tracy. Tracy's saying that's a great analogy. Your dogs are barking to let you know you're on the right track. Great. Thank you very much, Tracy. I think I needed to hear that. So thank you very much. So that's exactly it. So just pay attention to these things. And just as I've said before, we need to pay attention to our thoughts. We need to pay attention to our emotions. And the emotion as to what we need. Really, you just have to understand this information. We are taught in the society to suppress emotions. That certain emotions are okay, be happy and positive, and that's great. But, don't set boundaries by showing that you don't like something, or whatever the case may be. We are taught to suppress our emotions in so many different ways, and it's unhealthy. It's not been healthy for some, and it's dampened our little children that are crying out for help, the little inner children that are crying out for help and looking for healing and love. Okay, so very, very important to understand that this is one way in which you can bring healing to yourself. Okay, just by being to that inner child, being to that little child, what you know it needs. Just so if you can put yourself in that position, if your little inner child is throwing a little tantrum and you're wanting to react, then you can take a few deep breaths. So this little exercise you can do. Take a few deep breaths and start honing in on those feelings. And if you really become still and quiet, you will start connecting with that child, with that part of you. You might have a specific memory coming up, or maybe it's just a feeling. Follow that feeling and see where it takes you. And then take that child into your arms, have a conversation with it, love it, give it a hug, and just be that nurturer. Give the nurturing and the love and the understanding that that child needs. Okay? Because you were that little child. That was you. So this way, self-nurturing is amazing. It's an amazing to really heal yourself and heal those parts of yourself. And you'll start noticing as you practice this more and more, and as you start paying more attention to that little voice and to these inner children, and as you stop reacting so much, but really just start sensing and feeling, you will start noticing a change happening. Okay, you will have less, there'll be less fighting, there'll be less confrontation, unneeded confrontation. So look, sometimes confrontation is needed. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes you need to stand up for yourself. Okay, but if you're doing it in a reactionary way, pay attention to that. Okay, so you'll start noticing that you'll heal yourself, you'll feel better, and you'll start noticing after a while, especially after you've been doing it for a while, you won't react so easily anymore. You'll go, that's why that's triggering me, because now you know. In the beginning, you might not know why you're triggered by things, but as you start delving into this more and more and paying attention to it, you'll start understanding your triggers. And then you can have compassion for yourself right there in the moment. You won't even necessarily need to do the deeper inner work. You can just have compassion for yourself because you understand where it's coming from without trying to make the other person feel bad or without feeling the need to react. And this is one way to work from love. Love heals everything, and this is one of those ways in which it works. Okay. So yes, there's many experiences that you could have had in your life that could have that can cause these triggers. Like I said, conditioning. It could have been a traumatic experience, and sometimes you need more help, especially if you can't. If you find that you can't calm yourself down, you can't stop reacting, then perhaps you can't help yourself, and you do need to reach out and ask for help. Okay, whether it's a therapist, psychologist, a healer, or if you want to come to me, for example, this is the type of thing we work with in Compassion Key. Compassion Key, we're often dealing with those inner children. We're also dealing with other wounded parts of ourselves that's from other lifetimes. Sometimes we even deal with future lifetimes and we heal those things. And then that way we clear the blockages, we clear the patterns, and you can be free, lighter, and move forward and be unstuck, and you won't get triggered by certain things anymore. So there are many, many different ways to do this, and it's important to use your discernment and to learn to listen to that inner voice. And if you feel you're out of your depth, ask for help. It's as simple as that. You can ask your guidance, your spirit guides. Just ask for help. Okay, so all right, and love and compassion is very important. Understanding we're all human, we even our souls, we remember things right down to our souls. Some things are in the karmic layer, and that's exactly why we need to go and do that inner work. Okay, so love and compassion, very, very important. And you'll start feeling better, definitely. Okay, next week I will be looking at another gift. I think I'm going to be focusing on clairvoyance, the visual side, which is my thing. So yeah, if you have any questions about that, please email me, put it in the comments, DM me, whatever you want to. If you have questions about it, if there's something specific you want to know about clairvoyance, but then I will make sure to cover that in next week's talk, next week's coaching session. And if there's anything else you would like to learn about, if there's something that you really want to understand about yourself that's not making sense, or that you notice in other people, or that you just notice in the world, or something you're just curious about, please feel free to contact me, and I will make sure to create that for you and talk about that. Okay. You are most welcome, Tracy. Yes, I'm sure it was divinely guided. As I tell most people that find me, whether it's here on YouTube or people who want to book a session with me, I put it out there. I put the intention out there that the people that I'm meant to serve will find me. The people that I can help and serve, those are the people that will find me, because that's why I'm here. This is my purpose. So I'm happy to be doing that, and I'm glad you found me, and I'm glad to meet you. I'm looking forward to meeting you in person at some point. Thank you, Tracy. And thank you to everybody else that's watching, whether you're watching the live or whether you're watching the recording. Thank you very much for spending this time with me today. And I'm looking forward to chatting with you again next week. Thank you very much. You're most welcome. Thank you very much, everyone. Lots and lots of love. Have an awesome weekend. Happy Halloween if you're celebrating it. We just like having fun. So enjoy. Have a great weekend. Bye.